Hi guys, and welcome to day 5. I think it's day 5. I'm starting to lose track of the days, but I'm pretty sure it's day 5. Today our practice is all about spinal mobility and back strength. This is incredibly important for obvious reasons, but really we lead such sedentary lives, lives sitting down, that our spine tends to lock out. There's not as much mobility in our back as there should be. And this is for a lot of reasons. I mean, there's a lot of muscles like our hip flexors. Because we're sitting all the time, they get shorter, and naturally this affects our spine as well. Weak cores, our glutes, everything that we've practiced for the last few days are definitely important for helping to support our spine, our back, our posture. But having more mobility is a really big part of that. It's not just the strength, it's our ability to move and to move better. So that's what today's practice is all about. I really hope you enjoy it. We're going to get started on our belly. So come to lie down all the way on your belly. Legs are long, arms reach in front of you. Now we're going to do both sides. I've done this exercise before in my classes. It's one of my favorite back exercises, especially as we work sides of the back. So firmly pressing into your left hand, I want you to lift the upper body, lift your right arm, and lift your left leg. So really squeeze that left glute, squeeze the back chain as you reach the right arm a little higher, and then release back down. We're going to inhale, lift ourselves up, and then slowly release it back down. We'll do that 3 more times. Lift up, release down. Last 2, reach a little higher, press into right foot, left hand, and release. Last 1, lift up, squeeze, hold, and then lower yourself back down. Bring your hands either side of your chest and press yourself back into a child's pose. So hips to heels, lengthen out through the arms. So really draw the hips back and down so you round out through the lower back. Reach the fingertips forward so we stretch through the sides of our body. And then slowly start to round out through the spine, coming through a cat position. Keep shifting the weight forward, lower the hips, externally rotate those shoulders. So wrap the triceps. Gently start to bend into the elbows, squeezing the elbows in towards your ribs. Keep the heart open, the shoulders away from the ears, the glutes engaged. Right heel towards your right bum. Turn towards the left-hand side, so right foot behind you. Lift the hips, wild thing. Right arm reaches back, we lengthen out through the body, engage the glutes, open the heart. Take an inhale here as you exhale. Lower the hips, right elbow to right knee. Inhale, we lift and lengthen. Exhale, we lower with control, crunch elbow to knee, and then inhale, lift yourself back up and stretch. Last time, we lower down, crunch, bring your right hand back onto your mat, your right heel towards your right bum, release the right foot, come back into child's pose. Now we slowly ripple out through the spine, really rounding out through the lower back, mid back, upper back. Shift the body weight, lower the hips, lower the chest, come back onto the floor. Arms reach out in front of you and we move on to the other side. So the upper body lifts, you press into the right hand, left arm off the floor, right foot off the floor. So really try to lift up as high as you can, squeeze the glutes and lower back down. We lift up and squeeze, and then lower back down. 3 more times. Lift yourself up and release. Lift yourself up. Really, really engage and release. Last 1, guys. Lift left arm, press into the right hand, left foot, and then slowly lower down. Bring your hands by your side. Once again, hips towards the heels. Give yourself a little stretch. Lengthen out through the sides of the body, being really mindful of the spinal mobility. So round out, tuck the pelvis, shift the weight forward, drop the hips, wrap the triceps, squeeze the elbows in, open the chest, find your low cobra. Left heel towards your left glute. Take it over towards the right. Lift the hips. Open the heart, wild thing. We're going to do this 3 times. Lower the hips. Crunch left elbow to left knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Give yourself a nice side stretch. Exhale, we lower. Inhale, we lift. All right, exhale, we lower. Crunch it in. And bring, did I do 3? Let's do 1 more. Inhale, lift it up, just for good measure. All right, this time we lower it down. Bring your left hand down. Bring your left heel to your glute. Find that low cobra. Release your left foot. Shift back into child's pose. Once again, round out through the spine. Bring it forward. Drop the hips. Drop the belly. Drop the chest. Arms reach overhead. All right, this is one of my favorite exercises. But as is the case with all of my favorite exercises, it's like a love-hate. It's not something that you're going to love initially. But we're going to do it anyways, and it's going to be wonderful. So, pressing into the ground, arms reach forward. I want you to lift the feet, lift the arms, and let's go swimming. I want you to paddle. Paddle the feet up and down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it down to the ground. Create a pillow with your hand. Bring your right ear onto the floor and just shimmy the hips from side to side. All right, guys, beautifully done. Bring your hands either side of your chest. Tuck your toes, hips to heels, but this time start to straighten out the legs. Come into a downward facing dog. All right, because we're working on spinal mobility and spinal and back strength, let's play with a little bit of spinal mobility from down dog to plank. So I want you to come high up onto the balls of the feet, start to round out through the spine as we were doing in our cat pose. Find your plank position, so really protract through the shoulder blades. Then hover your knees off the floor, stick your butt out, Beyonce that butt, push the hips towards the heels and straighten your legs. We're going to do that again. High onto the balls of the feet. Round out through the spine as you come forward into your plank position. Hover the knees. Stick the bum out. Downward facing dog. 1 more time. High up. Round out. Shift the body weight forward. Hover the knees. Engage the core. Stick the butt out. And slowly come back into downward facing dog. This time we come high up onto the balls of the feet, look between our hands, tiptoe your feet all the way forward. Find a nice rag doll at the top of the mat so your head and neck relax. Maybe you grab opposite elbows, hands behind head, behind back, behind knees. Maybe you sway from one side to the other. Release any tension in the lower back. Shift the weight into the balls of the feet. Get a lovely stretch through the backs of the legs. And then release your fingertips to the ground. Gently bend both knees, chin to chest. We roll ourselves up, vertebra by slow vertebra. Head and neck are the last things that come up as they do take the shoulders up, back, and down. All right, so these have become some of my favorite movements. I've done them in my classes before. If you haven't been a part of those classes, it can feel really weird, but I love it and I want to incorporate it into my classes more actually because it's something that I practice almost every morning now because I've struggled so much with my back. So if you have been in my classes before, you're going to be like, oh, I know where she's going with this. We're going to do spinal mobility standing. Now, if you're alone, that's great. You can really rock this out. If you're feeling a little awkward, the truth is it can feel a little bit robotic. And that's absolutely fine because the truth is our body has become quite robotic. We don't know how to move it to its full capability, which is why spinal mobility is so exciting. So what I want you to practice while you're standing is you're going to start to bend your knees, push your hips forward, and try to create a ripple wave with the body. So the hips go back, chest forward, and then hips forward, and we bend the knees. So we're going to try to do our best to get as much mobility, so even all the way into the neck as we move our body. Now it's going to take you a while to feel normal as you do this, And then you're finally gonna get there, and I'm gonna tell you to reverse it, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, this just got so hard. It feels really weird. It's one of like these exercises for sure. But I want you to really practice going in both directions. Bending the knees, really working lower back, mid back, upper back, neck, and changing that direction so that it feels weird, but that you're exploring new movements within the body. Take one more breath where you are. And let's stop. Everyone's like, ah. All right, top of your mat. Another one of my favorite exercises, and it's exciting because this is one of the areas where I feel like a lot of times we hit a wall with our fear. So we're gonna work on a back bend. Don't worry, it's not one of those. It's gonna be a little bit more one of these. But I think what scares us naturally is falling. So this is a fun little exercise, and something that can help with stability is the hand that you're not using, bring it to the center of your chest. I want you to come onto the balls of your feet. Start to bend the knees, shifting your body weight forward. So you're gonna push the hips all the way forward. As you go as far forward as possible, the upper body is gonna start to lean back. Now here's where it gets tough, and it's all on the quads initially. I want you to start to bring your right hand behind you, and as you start to bend into those knees, see if you can tap your right heel and come back up. So really engaging the muscles so it doesn't pinch in the back. We turn to the left-hand side, come high up onto the balls of the feet, shift the body weight forward, left hand reaches back, squeeze the glutes, and lift yourself back up. We're gonna do that again. Come over to the right-hand side. I know some of you are like, this is so challenging. Squeeze the inner thighs, really push forward as the upper body balances back. See if you can tap right hand to right heel, come back to center, and then we change sides. Left hand to left heel, back to center, and take a forward fold. All right, lovely, nice forward fold. Again, releasing any tension in that lower back. There's gonna be a lot of back bending and then forward folding just to counteract some of the work that we are doing here. So take one more breath where you are, and then slowly bend the knees, lower your hips towards your heels, coming into a Malasana Squat. Now, first of all, this is one of I'm gonna keep saying my favorite, but this is one of the best lower back stretches for me personally. Reaching your fingertips forward, drawing your chin towards your chest, pulling the hips to the ground. It can feel so good on your lower back. You can also take your hands behind your head and draw your chin towards your chest, and it gives you a nice full spinal stretch here. So take one more breath where you are, and then slowly start to lift yourself up. So we're in a squat, your bum's not seated on the floor, hopefully. You're gonna shift your weight onto the balls of the feet so that we're sitting back on our heels. A little exercise to kind of warm up the legs, the glutes. I want you to shift forward, similar to what we were doing when we were standing. Upper body leans back as the knees reach forward, and you're gonna try to tap the floor as softly as you can, trying not to hold on behind you. And once the knees are on the floor, see if you can lean just a little bit further back, and then slowly shift the weight back onto the balls of the feet. Lift up, so release the heels, and take a low chair. So you're feeling this on the legs. Hips pull back, arms reach forward, upper body is hovering off the ground. We're gonna shift our weight onto the balls of the feet, lower the hips to the heels, lower the knees, upper body leans back. See if you can lean back a little further as soon as the knees touch the ground, and then come back into your half chair, arms forward, hips back. We're gonna do that one last time. Balls of the feet, lower the hips to the heels, lower the knees, reach the upper body back, lean back, lean back, lean back, you got it. And then shift and find your low chair. And then forward fold, release any of that tension, give yourself a little jiggle. Hands onto the ground, step your right foot back, step your left foot back to meet it. Holding your plank position. So spreading the fingers nice and wide, crease of the wrists are pointing forward, pushing the ground away. So really rounding out through the upper back, We are all going to lower knees, chest, and forehead. Again, working with spinal mobility. Tuck the pelvis, ripple out, lower back, mid back, upper back, head and neck are the last things that lift up. Squeeze elbows towards the ribs, engage glutes, palms reach back, crown of the head reaches up, shoulders away from the ears, tuck the toes, hips to heels, downward facing dog. Whew! All right, guys, right leg floats high to the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, right foot steps between your hands. Feet are hip distance apart. We press down to lift up, high lunge. So bending into the front knee, back leg is straight. We hug the ribs and the belly in, bring the hands behind the head. Open the chest. Try to open through the upper thoracic, so elbows reaching back. So again, trying not to pinch into that lower back. And then as you exhale, tuck the pelvis, start to bend into that left knee, draw the elbows in towards one another, round out through the spine. We inhale to open and exhale, round. Inhale, open, exhale, round. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to the floor on the inside of your right foot. So finding that lizard lunge, you might want to wiggle the right foot out a little bit. We're going to bend, make the hips nice and heavy, bend into the elbows, and like a kitten with a ball, we're going to use our nose and try to roll that ball forward and up, finding an open heart, hips a little lower. As you exhale, just reverse what we just did. So rolling back, bending the elbows, rounding out through the spine, straightening that right leg. Once again, bend the elbows, bend the front knee. We roll forward and up. And exhale, reverse, round out through the spine, straighten that right leg. One last time, forward and up. Exhale, reach it back. All right, however you want to come forward, find your lizard lunge. Walk the left hand in a little bit so you can step your left foot to the outside of your left hand and take a yogic squat, Malasana Squat. Working on some back bends here, we're going to reach our right hand back behind us. Either lift the hips and reach that left arm, or you're going to keep your hips on your heels, lower the knees, lower the forearm, and reach that left arm. So two options here, both quite different. One is more of a back bend. This one's a really nice stretch into the legs. So we move over to the left. Whichever option you're going to take it now. Lower back, right side, lift, lower back, left side, lift. One last time. As you lift, if you are lifting, squeeze your inner thighs, engage the glutes, left side, lift. All right, come back to center and take your forward fold. Legs are like, lower back is loving it too. Heel toe the feet, plant the hands, and walk back into a plank position. Strong plank position, take an inhale as you exhale, lower the knees, lower the chest, lower the forehead. Bum is sticking out, tuck the pelvis, ripple out through the spine, head and neck are the last things that lift up. We untuck our toes. And then tuck the toes, hips to heels, downward facing dog. Left leg to the sky, we inhale, exhale, left foot between our hands. Feet are hip distance, we press down to lift up, high lunge. Hands behind our head, open the chest. Exhale, tuck the pelvis, round the spine, elbows in. Inhale, straighten the back leg, open the heart. Exhale, round it out, keep that front knee bent. Inhale, we open. Exhale, we close. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to the inside of your left foot. Same thing we did on the left-hand side. Heavy hips, bend the elbows, roll yourself forward and open, and then reverse what you just did. Round out through the spine, straighten left leg. Once again, we bend forward, open, and reverse back. One last time. Inhale and exhale. All right, however you want to come forward to that lizard lunge, walk your right hand in, step your right foot outside of your right hand, yogic squat. Same thing, but this time we start with the left side. Maybe you try something different this time. So if you're trying the back bend, Maybe this time you try to lower the knees, lower the forearm, and then come over to the right. Same thing. Lower the knees, lower the forearm. We make our way to the left. Make our way over to the right. You're doing fantastic. There's just one more round of this. Bring it to the left. Bring it to the right. Bring it back to center and fold. Woo! Well done, guys. Heel toe the feet in ever so slightly. Plant the hands, step back. Plank position, strong plank position. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower knees, chest, forehead. Ripple yourself forward and lower yourself onto the ground. One final round of back exercises before supine twists, and we are done. Hands behind the head. Take a breath. We lift up and lower. Lift, press into the toes and lower. Lift, engage that back chain. Lift. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Release yourself down. Create that pillow. Shake out the hips. All right, guys, we were moving the upper body. This time we move the lower body. For me personally, I prefer to have the feet apart. I feel like in up dog, cobra, all of these exercises, it releases tension in my lower back. So see how it feels for you, and whatever you prefer. But for this one, I'd probably suggest legs apart. Forehead onto your hands as a pillow, and then lift the legs and lower. Lift and lower. Lift, lower, lift, and lower. Really squeeze those glutes. For another 3, for 2, for 1, release it down. I know it can be pretty intense on the groin. If you need to put some cushioning, same as child's pose, can be pretty intense on the knees. Just adjust or modify as feels right for you. All right, guys. Bringing your hands either side of your chest, tucking your toes under, we find our downward facing dog. Give yourself a little moment to pedal out the feet. Maybe you bend the knees, sway the hips, and then finding that stillness in your down dog. We come high up onto the balls of the feet, gaze between our hands, tiptoe our feet all the way forward. Take one final ragdoll at the top of the mat, and then bend your knees, lower your bum to the floor, and slowly lower vertebra by vertebra onto the ground. We hug our knees in towards our chest, and then take one final spinal twist. So right knee stays in, left leg goes long. Shimmy the hips to the right, draw the right knee across the body. Really allow yourself to surrender here, to let go of any control. Every exhale is an opportunity for you to melt the body into the ground. Taking one more breath here. Slowly coming back to center and changing it to the other side. Left knee across. Cactus the arm, gaze across the shoulder. Once again, surrendering, letting go, melting. And then coming back to center, hugging your knees into your chest. And you have the option to lie down in Shavasana for a few minutes more. I'll allow the screen to continue before this moves on to another video. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, your next practice, whatever you have going on. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you again tomorrow for day 6. Bye.